everyone, welcome back to Build. I'm your host, Brittany Jones-Cooper, and today I'm sitting down with Kofi Siriboe. The fourth season of Queen Sugar has been a ride as we watch the Bordelon family grapple with the release of Nova's tell-all book. Siriboe plays Ralph Angel, the family's youngest sibling, who's trying not to let the book's revelations disrupt the stability he's worked so hard to establish. Take a look.
Say, bro, you all right?
Just tired, man. Ain't been sleeping. Between the highway and Nova's book. Hella stress.
Should have burned that damn book all the way up.
And Dollar getting blue therapy over.
Say what?
Yeah.
Damn. But did it help?
I don't know yet. Got us doing like Dreamless or something.
What's a Dreamless?
Me and Dollar's supposed to think about Blue's future. What we want it to look like. I'm just thinking about today. I think about tomorrow. Feel me?
Put your hands together for Kofi Siriboe. Very excited to talk to you about Queen Sugar. Season 4 has been
Thank you for having me.
a ride.
What's up? I saw y'all out front.
A lot of fans in this audience. This season is so good. And so we just got to start with the big bombshell, which is Nova's book. What's wrong with Nova? Can you answer that?
I don't know what's wrong with Nova. I think Rutina's dope, but I just think them writers had an idea and they just executed. Nova's always been a little bit, on the other side, She just really, when I think of Nova and I think about the series in general, I just feel like Nova's really, I guess, the personification of a dynamic human being. Like, she just doesn't fit in a box, so you can't place her. But on a writer level, as Kofi, like, I respect what she did with the book. Like, I think that's amazing. I hope to one day write a book, but I just don't fully agree with how she went about it.
Yeah, I don't think any of us do. What were the conversations before season 4, when you guys sat down at those first table reads about just how dynamic the season was going to be because of this book?
It don't go like that.
Oh, doesn't it?
I in a lot of ways, the beginning process of these seasons, I feel like the audience member. I'm not getting 5 scripts before we do episode 1. I'm not sitting there talking to like, I'm just as much like, can't wait to see what we doing this year. And I get to the writer's room, we have conversations, but still they're really pregnant with information. They keep it close to home, and I think it's a mutual trust. Not only do they know we can, execute the material, but I also know that the world of the show is so clear, and they've all the writers who are still with us and aren't still with us. The world is so clear, so I'm always excited to see what it consists of.
Do you think that, or how does that affect your performance, that you really don't know necessarily where things are going, that you kind of have to live in the moment a little bit?
Because I don't perform, I don't now. I can't tell you honestly, because I don't obviously view my experience as a performance, but I'm sure it does change things because it's not premeditated. It's like, of course I get my material on time and I'm still able to download it, but it's not as premeditated as people think. Like when you're watching anything back in this world, but when you're watching a TV show back, it's raw. It's still real, but it's not always the emotions you're feeling. From the response to what you're seeing isn't always intentional. Right. Because you didn't have a control on creating the product, sometimes as audience members, and I'm saying this as an audience member, because I'm a fan of stuff too, you know what I'm saying? But like, sometimes you're like, how did they know that was gonna make me feel like that? How did they know that? How did they? And it's like, they didn't know that. They just was like, yo, this is how I'm feeling. This is what's gonna go out. Or sometimes it was a mistake. Sometimes what y'all see was like, no time. So we had the whoop-de-whoop. And then it's like, oh, that's my favorite scene. You're like, really? Yeah, when we did that, and it's like, nah, it's just not always that,
That sounded like a really specific scenario. Can you tell us what?
That's called show business.
Okay.
That's what that's called.
I like to say that you don't approach Ralph Angel as a performance because so many parts of him feel so real. I know men like Ralph Angel, and I know we all do, and that I can tell that that's coming from your heart because you can't pretend that. I feel like you have a respect for this man and who he is. So is that your approach to him, that you're just trying to respect the men who are really on that path?
Absolutely, and I think beyond circumstance, you know, I'm on that path. You know what I'm saying? Like Ralph Angel's trying to, despite his past, despite his you know, circumstance, despite his mistakes, he's trying to design a life of sustainability and peace in the midst of, you know, oppression. You know, whether it was, you know, self-inflicted oppression or systemic oppression. He's a victim, you know, but also in a lot of ways, his choices, you know, facilitated that. So, you know, we're all victims of different things, and we're all, you know, victims of systemic oppressions in different facets. But, you know, I feel like I respect anybody trying to not only, you know, I guess liberate themselves from that, you know, oppression, but also be true in the process. You know, we could all waver like our morals and, you know, what we believe in just to get what we think we need to be secure. But to like do it the hard way and to like actually like go with the process, you know what I'm saying, endure the process, it's respect. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. And one of the reasons I think that he is so intentional is obviously Blue.
Period.
When Bianca Lawson was here, she described Blue and Ralph Angel as soulmates. And you see that in a lot of ways they've helped each other grow.
Yo, I love Bianca Lawson, bro.
She is really, really phenomenal.
Yeah, and like I told you, she a fellow Pisces, so I don't know if we got any Pisces, any? Oh, two. Shout out to my Pisces in the audience. Shout out to you too, bro. Hey.
I love that you are two Pisces playing these two very emotionally raw.
It only makes sense. Me and Bianca probably could never be in love in real life. Because in Pisces, boy, like, it's just a lot.
Everything's out there. But on the topic of Blue, one of the most recent episodes, we saw the moment that a lot of us have been waiting for, where they had to sit him down and talk about his paternity. And that scene was so beautiful and emotional. And the conversations on social media afterwards were just so fun to dig into and to watch people really connect to that storyline. So why do you think that storyline is so important for so many people?
That's a good question. My instinctual response is love, you know, unconditional love, you know, unexpected love. Like, you see a grown man and a woman together, you're like, yeah, all right, they probably, ooh. But you see like a little, we could just take some years off. You see like a 7-year-old boy and a little 7-year-old girl kicking it. You're like, oh my God, they just so innocent. They so beautiful. And I feel like that's the same feeling you get from seeing Ralph Angel and Blue. It's like, it's just love. Like, Blue's not even conscious of it, you know. I'm full. He's aware of it, but like he doesn't see a black man. He don't see a human. He just sees his dad, somebody who protects him, somebody who provides for him. And same with Ralph Angel. He looks in Blue's face and he doesn't see his past and his history, personal history, and all his mistakes. He sees opportunity, possibility. He sees potential. You know, it's what love should look like. Yeah. It's unconditional. It's you know, it goes beyond, you know, identity and circumstance. Once again, it's endless. It's infinite, and I think that energy is just transformative.
It is, and I think it reflects a lot of family dynamics we all know and experience. I know a lot of people who were raised by men who were not their biological fathers, but very rarely do we really get to fully explore that dynamic in our art, you know? So I always love this show for just how honest it is about things that are a reality for a huge part of the community. Darla. Darla. When are they gonna just get back together? I don't know. It's been...
Never.
Oh, she says no.
You say you don't like Deisha?
No.
Who said she don't like Deisha? Why you don't?
Ooh.
Why she had to be rude? Joie is just a little girl. She figuring it out. She gonna be a sweet teenager when she, you know. So what about Darla? What about what you trying to know?
I just know that there's this back and forth, and they seem like they're the only people who really understand the other, and so I root for them. I understand there's a lot of baggage there, but like, you know, when are they gonna get back together?
So I'm gonna give you the build answer. I'm lying. I'm gonna give you the real answer. They're gonna get back together when they figure their stuff out. It's that simple. Yeah. I mean, you know, in a perfect world, I'll just tell you the episode. We all just, you know, call it a night. But nah, it's like they're still working through their lives, like their history. Like I was talking about, the things they've been through are real. Like the trauma from that is real, and the future or possibilities that they have for each other are also very real, but they're not tangible until, you know, they confront and challenge and do the work to process the things they're already dealing with. Otherwise, they would have a functional relationship.
That's true. And it's fair. I've seen Ralph Angel, I feel like, in more recent seasons. You see him, like, a little more energetic about things. I feel like in the beginning, he was just in his zone, and he had just gotten out, and he was just trying not to mess up and trying not to go back in. And I feel like we've seen him unwind a little bit. Which has been really, I'm sure, fun for you to play, like just play him a little differently. So what has been your approach in being Ralph Angel in the beginning to now, and just how he presents himself in the world?
Like I said, that's very valid. You know what I'm saying? Because I resonate. But as I also said earlier, like, you know, everything isn't always so intentional. You know, I'm very intentional in the moment, but the moment I was in when I first got this role in 2016 is so different for so many reasons to where I'm at now. So that being said, as I discover the character and explore the character with, I guess, the process of, you know, portraying the character, ask me your question one more time.
Well, I see what you're saying. He sort of just naturally evolves. Like, it's not something that you're...
But I want to just your question one more time.
So just how do you approach Ralph Angel differently now versus the first season? Is there any sort of... Or you're just in him now? Like you said, it's a natural evolution, but the approach is different because now people know him. When I first met Ralph Angel, nobody knew him. He was fresh. He was just... It was like a canvas. It was just meant to be painted. You know, now there's this, like... You talking to him, you talking about him as if you know him, and you Ralph
do.
Angel. Yeah,
do.
That's why I really love the character.
I guess for me, the approach is just to be more. I don't think it changes, bro. Okay. I really don't think it changes. Like, I guess what I will tell you is my approach as an actor. I never came into this role feeling like I knew Ralph Angel to the T, or B, feeling like I could portray him or do that justice. I came into the role as a student of something that I always wondered about. Even though I have facets of Ralph Angel, again, there's a whole nother world he lives. So every day, I guess my challenge to myself is how much more of a student can I become, and how much more can I remove myself. Like, in the beginning, it was so fun, and it was so like, this is such a great experience. But as it became more and more real, I'm like, wait, this ain't just TV. I mean, God, Ava, Oprah, no. Like, this is some real stuff. So I had to educate myself. And that's probably the difference of season 1 to season 4. I guess my personal respect for the dynamic, you know, how dynamic Ralph Angel is, and not just Ralph Angel, but the world of Queen Sugar. Like, you think you're just making a show about black people, but like, it's like, nah, like, there's levels, there's levels.
So many levels. One thing that has so many levels in the show is the idea of masculinity and multi-generational ideas about masculinity, which I love how you see play out. You have Prosper, and then we have Ralph Angel, and then Micah and Blue, and all of these men are dealing with kind of masculinity in their own way. And I think that's so progressive of the show, to show how it has evolved in the Black community for Black men specifically. Is that something you guys have talked about consciously?
Not really.
No, it's just in the
It's so you know, and I'll say this again as like, you know, on both sides, you know, somebody who creates content and absorbs it. I feel like we all have such similar experiences as a people that even when we're, it's just like we don't have to speak about everything. We don't have to say everything. You know, it's just the world, once again, the intention of the show, which to me is to like bring an emphasis on simplicity when it comes to us. We're always, because we're so dynamic and because we've dealt with so much in America, when we're seen, it's always super. We're always, you know, we have to be more than just human. When that was our initial inheritance, was just to just be. But that was also what was taken away from us. So we're so used to seeing ourselves either hyper or less than. But what do we look like when we're just, you know what I mean? Just average without, you know, any connotation. Just average in the sense of just being. Like, how do we look? Like, what does that pace feel like? Like, do black people even know how to exist without that extra angst or pressure to be anything other than existence? And do we get to see that? No, is the answer. But do we get, like, I wish there's so many projects, people, et cetera, that I'm just so curious. Dick Gregory, et cetera. Like, I just saw a play, but just people where you're like, damn, like, I just want to see these people. Slowly. I don't want to like watch you know, I'm going to give an example. Like, say we made a movie about Oprah, who's still alive, you know. Yeah.
He's still alive.
Yeah. Overly. You don't want to see the movie and be like, born in Chicago, Oprah Winfrey show, ends Oprah Winfrey show. It's like the highlights, but it's like, when do we get to see the reality of our whole experience? It's the slave narrative. We always see the trauma. We're always seeing the effect, the response. But when do we get to see the triumph, the victory, you know, the progression, the evolution? Because things different, everything's different, but we don't always get to see our process. Our process is taken from us. We just always see the product, you know, of whatever we experience, you know.
I agree. That's why this show is so special, I think, because it does show this family that is so relatable for so many people.
It takes its time.
Takes its time. You see them dropping Blue off at school, just like the daily parts of our lives. It's the simple stuff that make this show so special. Where should I go next? Because I have so many. I need to cut for time. Let's talk about you for a second. So this is your first like breakout role. I know you've been acting for a minute, but it sounds like it really has changed you. So how has Kofi changed in this role?
See, I'm not trying to name drop or anything, but when I was sitting across from Oprah at her house, no, I'm kidding. But when I was at Oprah's house, we was having a conversation, and I was gassed. It's Oprah. I'm at her house for the first time, you know, and she's like, via our conversation, she's like, I know, I get you, Kofi. And this was like, you know, 21 or 22-year-old Kofi, one of the two. But she's like, you just want to go, I see what you're trying to do. You just want to see how far you could go with this human thing. And like, people don't talk like that. Right. That's not regular vocabulary, that's you Oprah know? Talk. Yeah, it's Oprah talk, you know what I'm saying? Or spirit talk, you know, better yet. And nobody ever said that to me, but it was like spot on. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, I got a book for you. You know what I'm saying? And I read the book, and it flipped my whole life upside down. It's Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth. I'm finishing the last 2 chapters on a Power Now right now. I read that joint like last year, and I was like, man, you just have to take a second, because the books I really absorb, you know, what I intake, and like, you know, if you allow it to affect you, and it's really the truth in spirit, like it will. That being said, not only has this experience, or, you know, the personal experiences with my castmates, Oprah, et cetera, has had on me, but it's like, to me, it's like hyper exposure. Like, you know, prior to, you know, fame, I lived a very private life. Like, you know, I'm a Pisces, I'm real sensitive, I'm real emotional, I'm real low key. That might not speak for every Pisces, but that's my truth, you know? So I always moved in the shadows, like, did what I had to do. Again, that's a part of the whole identity thing. Ideally, I'd sit, you know, in the trees, you know, with the trees, doing some, you know, loving the trees and Bob Marleying the trees and all of that, and chilling all day long. But, like, it's America. You got to pay your bills. It costs to be free. You feel me? So, like, you know, what I realized in my process of, you know, pseudo, you know, freedom, which I thought I was experiencing through famous success is, you know, I'm just looking for freedom, like real freedom, spiritual freedom, like, you know, social freedom, financial, you know, liberation. But, like, on a big scale, like, not where I could just help myself, but I could help my family, I could help my people, I could just help the expansion of the truth, because it's really not deeper than that. Like, you know, I can't sit here and point fingers at all the crazy, effed up things that's going on in the world, and I could point fingers at, you know, a lot of the, you know, roots of those problems, but even that's like, it's like backwards. It's like, we know what's, like, if you don't know, do some research, Google, but it's like, I'm just very solution oriented, like, I felt the pain. I've dealt with the trauma. I live the restriction. There's things in my mind that I know I should be able to experience. It's the way you imagine how we felt back in the day. Civil rights movement and all of that. Like, I just imagine being alive, being like, what you mean I can't drink that water? Like, what are you talking about? Like, but, like, I can only say that because I'm here. I might not have that pride or even possibility in my mind if I haven't lived this life for so long. You get what I'm saying? If that was your nature, meaning your spaces and your even your personal space, everywhere you went, everywhere you were told to fit in this, but you just did until you started believing the box was your inheritance. So I just want to know what it's like to be free for real, you know? And I don't fully know, even in the midst of my success and my fame, like, low key, like, it adds a whole nother dimension of captivity, to be completely honest, because I'm not in the shadows no more. Now I got eyes on me. But I just got to move a little differently. But, like, that's all I want. Like, I don't really want nothing.
So on that note, you said you're solution-oriented. Then do you find your way of sort of dealing with all that is more storytelling? Do you want to, you know, write your own stuff? I know you're a filmmaker.
Yeah, which is a whole nother dimension.
Right.
It's just, yes, I want to tell my story. Again, the story of spirit, of truth. You know, my story meaning, yes, my personal experience as Kofi, but it's also like a true experience as, you know, the things that I couldn't choose, like being black, like being a man, like being from LA, like experiencing fame and success at an early age, like experiencing a household where I have a mom and a dad, and I got to just sharing all of my personal truths in a way that they could be, you know, received or edible, you know, whether it's music, whether it's movies, or whether it's Instagram or Twitter or just conversation. Like, you know, I'm just sharing my perspective because that's all that matters. As my OG would say, you know, the late, great Nip Hussle, you know what I'm saying? He said, all that matters is how the story's told. That's it. You know, I put it this way. What we're living and experiencing right now is based off of how the story is being told. It goes back to what I said about the reference to, you know, the civil rights movement. We're only gonna live what we know and what we see and what we experience.
We got to tell our own stories.
That part.
Yep. We do have a couple of questions.
I'm ready for
Before
them.
we get out of here. Right there.
Hi, it's nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again. You are sitting out front, huh?
I might not be a Pisces, but Team Virgo.
Got
Just
you.
saying. My question to you is, if you had the chance to do a bio movie, who would it be and why?
You know, oof. See, how real do I want to be is a question. I'm like, oof. I'll put it this way. I want to do a bio on Michael Jordan for identity similarities, but there is slight disconnection to is, engagement in our community and our culture. So I can't say that wholeheartedly. But on an exploration level, Jack Johnson was a famous boxer back in the day. He dealt with a lot at an early time when we dealt with a lot. And I just think that would be interesting. He had a white wife at a time when that was just not all right, and he was a fighter and he's fighting white men, and it's just this very intense social climate, but he still walked around with that pride and confidence. Now, I wonder where that came from.
Was he a heavyweight boxer?
Yeah.
So you'd have to put on some...
Oh, I'm skinny.
You look great.
I'm playing with you. I'm all good.
But would you be willing to transform your body like that? For
if I was really passionate about the process and the project, yeah. I love acting, but they ask for acting requires a lot, and to be very real, I'm not about to be acting my whole life. That was never the goal. I'm just expressing while I can express with whatever channels are available. And, I'm going to keep emoting. That's my thing. Emote, express, share. But, acting is a lot, man.
Just trying to get back up in that tree. I get
That's
it.
it.
Yeah.
You talking the trees,
I get it. We all want to be up in the tree. Who has the next question?
Shout Bob Marley.
So in the show, in a way, your character is looking for love. So what are 3 qualities that you look for in a woman?
When it comes to a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
AKA love. No, I'm kidding. Self-love. She needs to love herself first. It's very important. Drive.
Someone in the audience just
I
went,
heard the
check.
check. I heard the check.
He's speaking generally, okay?
Drive, which is rooted in self-love. When you respect and love and value yourself, you have a drive to strive personally on a success ladder, whatever, drive. And selflessness. It's you gotta love yourself so much that it ain't about you. You know what I'm saying? So I think those 3 are key because it just makes sense. It's just, yeah.
Thanks.
Before we go, what are your just general hopes and wishes for Ralph Angel?
For Ralph Angel?
Yeah.
I hope that Ralph Angel realizes that everything he's looking for, he already has and already had, I don't take the process from or the journey away from him, but a lot of his journey is rooted in insecurity and lack of information and fear, doubt, and just hopefulness, And again, I don't take any of that away from him, but something I wish we all would know, including myself, is that we have it. We got it already. That's not the point. Looking for it is not the point, especially not externally. If you are going to look for it, then you should start inside, and if you can't find it, then you should stay inside. And I understand you still got to deal with life and circumstance and identity, etc. But, since we ain't, all Ralph Angel with a farm in the countryside with nothing, but space to absorb, find that time, you know what I'm saying, to find it. Find it, you know what I'm saying, and everything you're looking for, because then you would just enjoy. You know what I'm saying? You won't spend so much time stressing out about stuff. You'll just enjoy the experience, whether it's good or bad in the moment. At least I put it this way: we've all experienced good and bad. At this point, we still here. We still all good. You know what I'm saying? It's not always ideal, but it's still all good. So it's would it be so weird to enjoy those experiences as they're happening? Or do you want this shit to kill you? Sometimes, shit just kill me there, because I don't want to know what happens after this. I don't want to be nah, but if, just, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel like some of the characters this season will have a struggle with kind of that, but that's why it's a joy to watch, is that it is life. And this show, like I said, I'm just a huge fan of it. I think it speaks to so many people in really important ways. So thank you for the work you do
Thank you for
on
having
the show. If you guys aren't watching Queen Sugar, I don't know what you're doing. It airs every Wednesday at 9, 8 Central on OWN. Give it up for Kofi Siriboe.
All these people so cold, right?
Yeah, right?
Shout out Omar, Tina Liffer, Rutina Wesley, Don G.